Hi YouTube. This is my first time filming anything and like uploading it, so bear with me. It's my first video, so what better way to start off my channel than with a get to know me Q&A. Yeah, so you can find my socials here, my Instagram and my TikTok. I'll leave my Linktree in my bio along with my sand store so that you can apply for one-on-one coaching, posing. I have a macro 101 guide and a bunch of my other socials like my personal account, my photo booth business, my art account, portfolio, all that stuff. Let's start with the basics. My name is Crystal. I am 22 years old. I'm a Taurus. Birthday is April 21st, 2003. Bodybuilder. I'm actually an IFBB Bikini Pro. Believe it or not, that is so absurd to say. I've been bodybuilding for like, I want to say a year to a year and a half now. I don't know what to do first. That's pretty much who I am. Let me see, I'll tell you some more facts about myself. I love art, I love music, any form of art. I love fitness and health. There's a lot more. Astrology, moon cycle, and spirituality. I posted a question thing on my Instagram and posted a video on my TikTok asking if anybody had any questions for me, and I got a few. I got a few replies, okay? So, Instagram. Also, thank you to the people that did this. I appreciate it. I'll put the questions here, but I'll go into each of them individually. Biggest inspiration. My biggest inspiration, I have no idea. Can you tell this is unscripted? I would say in the bodybuilding world, my biggest inspiration is obviously what every bikini competitor is gonna say is Laura Lee. I mean, she's beautiful, she's great, she looks great. There are a few other competitors that I really do like. Jourdain is one of them. I forgot this other girl's name, but I'll throw their Instagrams up on the screen. Those are my biggest bodybuilding inspirations. Physique is off the charts. It's unbelievable. My biggest inspiration in my life is, not to sound cliche, but my mom. She really has been a rock in my life always. And within this new career of mine with bodybuilding, somehow she just has skyrocketed my expectations for what I need in a friend, in a partner, and in myself even. Goals for this year. So at the beginning of 2025 January, I made a big bingo list of things I wanted to do this year. 6 months in, we have accomplished a decent amount of stuff. I wish I had my notebook. I don't know where it is. I'm in the process of moving and unpacking all my stuff. But for the rest of the year, in terms of that, my goals are to travel a little more, get out of the state. I want to get out of the country. So I want a road trip, maybe in-state, and head somewhere out of state, somewhere new. I really want to go to Europe, specifically Spain. But honestly, anywhere in the world would be amazing. That's my biggest goal. My next goal, bodybuilding wise, is demolish my off season. I'm looking to be on plan 90% of the time, train with intensity and purpose, push some weight, and in specific areas, we're working on my shoulders and my glutes, like legs overall. And personal goals that I've made for myself are ab training and calves. Yes. Someone asked, didn't you compete in OCB too? Can you compare and contrast the OCB versus NPC/IFBB? So yes, I did the OCB and the NPC. I did my first ever show OCB, so that was April of last year. I think it was like around April 7th. I got first overall, first novice, first open, and I got my pro card. Yeah. I'll also insert a bunch of pictures, maybe. Yeah, that was my OCB experience. I turned pro my very first show with only like 5 girls in my class. It was a small show. I'm still super proud of that. And then for NPC, what my NPC career kind of looks like was after my first OCB show, I think like April 12th-ish, I did Atlantic States, which was a NPC show. And then in July, I did NPC Universe, which I got first at the regional show. I got first in True Novice, Novice, and then second in my open. So that's why I qualified for NPC Universe in July. Fast forward July, NPC Universe, national show. I got 7th place. Not bad. And that's how we finished off my season. This year, I did another regional show in April, and I did NPC Universe again. That's where I turned pro, which is still so crazy to me. What the heck? Both are very different. I was able to turn pro in a very short amount of time for both. OCB, let's be honest, it was a little easier. NPC was tough. There was a lot of competition, but it's not normal to like turn pro within the first 2 years of your bodybuilding career. That's what happened to me, but it doesn't happen to everyone. The NPC is just a lot more competitive than the OCB, and given that there is no testing in the NPC compared to the OCB. Also, OCB I think is just stuck. It's very stagnant. There's not really an effort to want to grow in the OCB. I think I've only ever heard of the Yorton Cup, which is like the biggest OCB show. It's a great place to start, but in terms of longevity and like a career and bigger picture, the Yorton Cup, they have really good prize like money, but after that, there's not much in terms of like pro shows compared to the NPC, where it's like regional, national, and you get your IFBB pro card, and then you compete in pro shows to qualify for the Olympia. So in terms of like playing the sport, NPC I just feel is like better than the OCB, but it's a great place to start. That's what I did. Someone said, any hobbies you like to indulge in or want to get into? There's a bunch of stuff I want to get into. Like if I could, I really want to get more into cooking. I'm starting, but definitely develop something in the cooking field for myself, like personal. I just want to cook fun meals and like recipes and even healthify everything if I can. There's a lot of growing in things that I've been picking up the last few months. So like I said, cooking, I've been doing that for the last few months. I just want to, get into it more, along with spirituality, religion. I love reading. I've gotten into reading recently, and I just want to keep building that hobby. I'm really into art. I love drawing, painting, oil pastels, photography. I've gotten into content creation, I guess, if that's like a hobby kind of now. I make TikToks. So yeah. And now I'm trying to pursue YouTube in terms of like another creative outlet. I like to talk a lot, so I think long form is definitely going to be a lot more fun for me to just yap. My hobbies just really consist of art and fitness. Someone asked, what clothing brand is your dream sponsor? I don't have a specific clothing brand that's like my dream sponsor. Girl, my dream sponsor is a clothing brand reaching out. This now that I think about it, fashion was once my hobby and like it still kind of is, but I love clothes. I love clothes, and honestly, I don't have a specific brand that I would want to work with, but working with any clothing brand would be a dream. I wear a lot of Young LA, a lot of Gymshark, and then I have like random stuff that I'll put on. Like I have Adidas pants on right now. I've had a lot of clothes throughout the years, and I shop a lot in my mom's closet. A lot of my outfits are like mix and match of everything from any point of my life, like pants from when I was in 6th grade, and the top that my mom owned since like I was born, and then like a Gymshark bra, Young LA shorts. You didn't ask this, but in terms of like a dream sponsorship, it's definitely clothes, but also like supplements. I work with Evogen. You can use code CRIS at checkout, but I reached out to them, they kind of accepted me, and I have a code with them, and I get commission on sales. That's it though. I don't technically work with them. I pay for all my nutritional supplements when I order with them. So I am spending my money. Dream would be to receive those things. Yes. Someone asked what's my ethnicity. I was born here in America, in New York. My parents are Dominican. I speak Spanish pretty fluently, I would say. That was from my Instagram, and then I got a few comments on my TikTok video. What are the greatest lessons you've learned through each prep? So my first prep was a doozy. I can always get into that more if that's what you want to see, but I had a very hard time prepping my first time. It was the first time I've ever been on a diet, and post-show was worse. First off season after restricting and all this other stuff. I think the biggest thing I learned from that is that I needed to find other forms of happiness besides food. And that's when I kind of learned like hobbies are going to be your best friend. Eating cannot be your hobby if you're in bodybuilding. It can, but to an extent. Picked up a lot of hobbies after my first show, and a lot of internal like mental health things I worked on in terms of like food noise, body image. The biggest lesson I think I've learned this prep is support and like people. Not that I isolated myself either preps, but you know, I made extra time and extra room for people in my life this prep, and really like not letting prep or like low food give me a bitchy attitude or make me hangry. I worked really hard on keeping my energy up, my likeness up, so that people didn't feel like they were burdening me. Because I was a little bit of a bitch my first season, and I kind of was like, oh, it's because I'm hungry and I'm on prep, and that's just not who I really wanted to be. I made time for my friends, to go out when I could. When I didn't have energy, I really didn't, but if I did, I tried to use that to my advantage. Someone asked me how many growing seasons have I done. So before my first prep, I hadn't really done a growing season. I had just been training for 2 years, kind of just eating intuitively, I guess. I didn't track, or diet wasn't really any focus in my training. After my first competition season, I did my first off season, I would say, which I did mess up a little bit, but that was like a growing season. I trained with intention, and I was, even though I didn't follow it to a T, I was on a meal plan for 6 months before we prepped again. So now I'm in my second official off season. which I'm looking forward to. I don't know how that's gonna go yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I think there's gonna be good things. A lot of good things are gonna happen. I've technically only done one growing season, or maybe would you consider that two? I'm not really sure. Someone asked, what made you want to aim for your pro card? So funny enough, I never intentionally meant to aim for a pro card. I kind of just went into bodybuilding with an open mind. Like, I have a bunch of muscle, and I think, or I thought I had a bunch of muscle, and I do, but I was like, I think I could do that. I want to play this sport, so I did it, and I ended up winning. And my coach was like, you're really good at this. I see potential. Your shape is great. So we did NPC. Yeah, kind of from there, we were just like, okay, let's do this. I think the realization of like, okay, maybe I do want a pro card, but it wasn't like my top priority, was post July last year. I got 7th, not because I lost or I didn't get my pro card. I really wasn't going into that show assuming I was gonna get my pro card. It was more like, wow, I love this sport and I do see a future. I kind of like realized like, oh, I could get my pro card, could win more. So yeah, does that make sense? I'm like all over the place. Someone said, I want to see your whole competing journey from when you started and how your first prep was. I kind of went into that like throughout this whole video, but my first ever show was OCB April 7th of 2024. Then I did another NPC show.
A regional show, April 7th? No, the OCB was April 7th. I think
The second one was not April 12th. It was June. It was in June. I think I said April, like way a little bit before, but I meant to say June. So I did that, and then I did the NPC Universe in July of last year. That was my first season. My first prep was honestly terrible. I'm not gonna sit here and like lie. It was bad because I made it bad. I complained about the food I was eating. I complained about training, about getting weak. I was always angry. I did it to myself. Granted, it was the first time ever. Like I said, I hadn't even been on a diet ever before. So it was a whole new experience. But you know, I think I am very disciplined, and I did it. Like, I did what I had to do. I was just complaining, like someone was forcing me to do it, and then everyone's like, no one's forcing you to do this. And I think I took that into account post-show. I was like, okay. And that's why I enjoyed my prep this time around. I learned to enjoy my food in my off season, and it made me grateful for what I was eating in prep this season. So ask, how was the cake bowl born? If you don't know, if you're not from my TikTok, you don't know about the cake bowl. Sweet potato, Evogen birthday cake whey drip, cinnamon powder, peanut butter, salt. Heaven in a bowl. Check out my TikTok. That's all I can say, honestly. That's all I can say. Cake bowl turned into sweet potato bowl. I have made so many creations with like whey drip and sweet potato. It's actually the most insane, amazing thing ever. It's my sweet treat. It's my crumble cookie. Yeah, if you want to know what the cake bowl is, tune into my TikTok. But it was born, how was it born? My coach gave me sweet potatoes in a protein shake with peanut butter, and I was like, okay, what do I do? At one point, I was dipping apples into a chocolate whey drip. Shout out to Cass. I saw her video about a year ago where it was pumpkin spice protein powder and apples, and she made like a little dessert, and I was like, that's amazing. So I did it with chocolate and apples, and I was like, chocolate covered apples. And then I ended up being like, you could just put whey drip on anything. And then I put it on my sweet potato once, and I was like, life freaking changing. How old are you? How long have you been lifting? What's the division you would see yourself competing in the future? I'm 22, like I said. I've been lifting for 3.5 years, I think, consistently. The first day I stepped into the gym, I never went back. I just want to let that be known. So by the time that I started competing, I was already 2 years into lifting. I had 2 years of muscle, plus the next 1.5 years that I've been training. So I think I'm like at almost the 4-year mark of training in total. And I think in the future, I'd still be competing in bikini. I don't see myself driving away from that ever. Bikini is just my shape, and it's just the most realistic thing for me. Yeah, a little bit of a short video. I really want to get into vlogging, and I definitely am going to be shooting a lot more of my lifting content. I love lifting content, but got to a point where my phone was just too backed up and it's always full. Never have storage, and just a big mess. I want to get into more cooking and recipe videos, maybe even. That's it for today's video. I hope you like it in general, but that's all I have to say for today. So, bye.